What's up guys, Archaic here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel deck profile for you guys. Today we'll be going over this Cyber Dragon deck as was requested by a user in the last video. This deck is a really great deck for a number of reasons, but the main one in my opinion that makes it so good is that it's really good whether you're going first or you're going second. So we'll start off the deck profile by showing some gameplay, which will be 2 games. The first game will go first, the second game will go second, and then we'll go into the deck profile. So I'll have timestamps and chapters in the video, so feel free to skip to whatever you're looking for. If you like these videos and want to see more, then please be sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment on what deck profile you'd like to see next, or what other content you'd like me to post. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right into this deck profile. So in this game we'll be going first. We'll start off by normal summoning Core, who will grab us a Cyber Repair Plant. We'll set Solemn, activate Machine Dupe targeting Core, and we'll special 2 Cybers from our deck. We'll activate Cyber Emergency to grab a Hertz, and we'll use Core and Cyber Dragon here to make our Seeger. Now that we have a Cyber Engrave, we'll use the Cyber Repair Plant to add Galaxy Soldier. We'll activate Galaxy discarding Hertz, and we'll do Galaxy Chainlink 1, Hertz Chainlink 2. Hertz will grab us a Cyber Dragon, and Galaxy Soldier will grab us another Galaxy Soldier. Then using our 2 level 5 machines here, we'll make Cyber Dragon Nova. Make a little bit of a misplay here. I detached to summon the Cyber Dragon. It doesn't really matter because we'll overlay into Infinity. And then Infinity here, we'll use this effect to take back the Cyber Dragon as material. So we'll end our turn here, and he's going to hit us right off the bat with a Droplet, discarding a trap, so we can't respond with Judgment. This sucks, but he'll activate Tenki. We'll negate it here, thinking with 2 in hand he'll be lost, but unfortunately, as you'll see, he still has the Zodiac Whiptail here, so now he'll start the Zodiac Xyz climb into Drident, so I'll speed this up here, and then he'll make the Drident, and he'll move into battle, and he'll attack the Seeger. He'll destroy the Seeger by battle, and then he'll activate Drident's effect here to detach 1 to pop our Cyber Dragon Infinity, and then he'll overlay the Drident into a Zeus here with a lot of materials, thinking it's scary, but little does he know it's the machine, so he's gonna regret this. So we'll draw for turn here, and we'll activate Core, who will banish himself to bring out Noxter from the deck. Noxter will bring out our Cyber Dragon Nova, then using our Noxter and his monster, we'll make our Chimeratech Dragon. Activate Galaxy here, discarding Cyber, and we'll instant fusion into Panzer Dragon. Now using our 2 level 5s here, we'll make another Nova. And Nova here will detach 1 to special summon out a Cyber Dragon. Nova will activate his effect, banishing the Cyber to boost his attack, and then we'll overlay this Nova into another Infinity here, and now we'll attack for game. So into the game 2 here, where we go second. Just to show you what this deck does going second, I'm going to speed this one up and not explain as much so you guys can see, but we'll go through we make a little misplay here. We machine dupe and only summon 1, but luckily we had another machine dupe. So we're just going to make Seeger here, and then we're going to go into Nova. And we're going to use Nova's effect to bring back out a Cyber Dragon, and then we're going to overlay the Infinity on top of the Nova. And what we'll do is we'll use Infinity's effect to grab his monster and attach it, and we'll fusion summon the Chimeratech Rampage Dragon using our 2 in the graveyard, and we'll pop his back row. Then we'll use his other effect to send a Cyber Dragon to the grave so he can attack again. We'll use Seeger to boost his attack and attack for game. So we'll go into the deck profile for you guys right now, and so we'll go through the whole deck and I'll explain the monsters. We'll start off with 3 Cyber Dragon Hertz. So we're running 3 Hertz, and what Hertz does is when he's special summoned, he can make himself become a level 5, so that's useful to go into Nova. And when he's sent to the graveyard, he can add a Cyber Dragon monster from our deck or graveyard to our hand. Now, important to note, and I'm going to explain this because right now, and just remember this, all the Cyber Dragon monsters, when they activate their effects, they lock you out of special summoning except machine monsters, which doesn't matter because we only playing machine monsters. And then they all treat their names as Cyber Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard. So you can see his second effect here which adds the Cyber Dragon from the graveyard or deck to the hand, can actually add more than just Cyber Dragon. Next up, we're playing 3 copies of Noxter. Noxter is a really good card, and basically you can discard one other monster to special summon him from your hand, and if this card is normal or special summon, you can target a machine monster with 2,100 attack in your graveyard, special summon it. So he can basically get you 2 bodies on the field really easily, plus if you discard a card like Hertz or Cyber Dragon, you get advantage off of that discard. Next up, we have Core, who's arguably the best Cyber Dragon main deck monster, and what Core does is, when he's normal summon, he can add a Cyber Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, which is a lot of targets in this deck, that's great, and then if it's in the graveyard and only your opponent controls a monster, you can banish him to special summon out any Cyber Dragon monster directly from your deck. So any Cyber Dragon monster, not just Cyber Dragon. Next up, 2 Ash Blossom hand traps, 1 copy of Veer. I'd only run 1 copy of Veer. Basically what he does is when you summon a Cyber Dragon monster, you get to special summon him from your hand, so he can become extra link material, an extra body on the board, but not worth playing more than 1. 3 copies of Cyber Dragon, no need to explain here, main guy of the deck. Then we have 2 copies of Galaxy Soldier. So what Galaxy Soldier does is, basically he's a 1-card infinity. So you send 1 other light monster from your hand to the graveyard, which all we're running in this deck is pretty much light monsters, except for the Ash Blossom, so this is no problem. And you special summon him from your hand in defense mode. And when he's summoned, you get to add with this effect, basically when he's special summoned, you get to add a Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, including another copy of himself. And his effect to special summon himself isn't once per turn. So using the Galaxy Soldier you just added, you can special summon another Galaxy Soldier, and then you can make infinity just off of that first Galaxy Soldier. So really good there. Next up, we playing 2 Kaijus. So the Kaijus are really good in most decks because what they do is they let you special summon themselves onto your opponent's field by tributing 1 monster they control. So the downside is, right, you're giving them a big beater, but it's not a big issue in this deck because we can actually use machine monsters our opponent controls for a contact fusion with our Fortress Dragon here. So the Chimera tech is actually, the Jizukiru is a machine monster, so we can use that, we can tribute their boss monster and then use the Kaiju we just gave them to fuse with our own Cyber Dragon to make a fusion monster for ourselves. Next up is 3 copies of Machine Duplication. This is probably one of the best spells in the deck, and what it does is when you can target 1 machine monster you control with 500 or less attack and special summon up to 2 monsters from your deck with the same name as that face-up monster. So what's really good about it, and in general, is that it's up to 2 monsters. So even if you only have 1 target, you could still activate it because you could special summon 1 or you could special summon 2. And then the next good part about it is that even though it sounds like, oh, a machine with 500 or less attack, like why would you need 2 more on the field? But what's good is, like I said, all of these guys treat their names as Cyber Dragon and they all have under 500 attack. So you target one of these guys and then you special summon out 2 normal Cyber Dragons from your deck because they have the same name, and then you can make infinity. So really good card there. Next up, Power Bond. Just another card for OTK, really only worth playing it at 1, and what it does is it lets you fusion summon a machine fusion monster from your extra deck by using materials from your hand or field as fusion material, and then that monster you summon basically gets its attack doubled. So let's say it had 2,000 attack, it would gain 2,000 attack, and then at the end of the turn you take effect damage equal to the amount of attack you gained off of that card. So if it gained 2,000 attack, like our previous example, by the end of the turn, if our opponent's still alive, then we take 2,000 attack damage. But the key word here is if they're still alive, and the whole point of Power Bond is to OTK your opponent, so you probably won't end up taking that damage. But yeah, worth playing at 1. Next up is Overload Fusion. This is like Miracle Fusion, but for Dark Machine Fusion monsters. And basically what it does is it lets us banish fusion materials listed on a Dark Fusion machine monster, and it lets us banish them from our field or graveyard in order to special summon out the fusion monster. So it's basically, like I said, like a Miracle Fusion, really good. Next up, 1 copy of Instant Fusion. This is just to bring out our Panzer Dragon. Next up, we have 3 copies of Cyber Emergency, and Cyber Emergency basically lets us add 1 Cyber Dragon monster from our deck to our hand, and it has a neat little additional effect that doesn't really come up, but it's nice to have, I guess, in that if activation of the card is negated, then you can discard one card to add it back to the graveyard to your hand. Now, it's a hard once per turn, as you see, so you won't be able to use it again that turn, but it's a good way to maybe dump a Hertz into the graveyard and then get this back for next turn. But it doesn't come up that much because most people will negate this kind of card with Ash Blossom, who only negates the effect and not the activation. So it doesn't trigger that effect and you won't be able to use it. So keep that in mind. Next up, we have Cyber Repair Plant, which we're running just at 1. This card can be searched off core, and it requires a Cyber Dragon in the graveyard, so that's why we're only running it at 1. So it's easily searchable, plus it's not a starter card, it's a card you're going to use like second turn or mid combo. So because it can be searched off of core, there's really no need to play more than 1. And what it does is if you have a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard, you can activate one of these effects, which is adding a light machine monster from our deck to our hand, or targeting a light machine monster in our graveyard and shuffling it into the deck. We'll really only ever use the first effect to add a light machine monster from our deck to our hand, and the reason why it's good why we run it on top of Cyber Emergency is not only is it like a 4th copy of Emergency, because it can add whatever Emergency can add, but it can also add Galaxy Soldier, because this only lets us add light machine monsters that cannot be normal summoned or set, which this guy can be. You can tribute summon him, so it doesn't work, or a Cyber Dragon monster. So Repair Plant will actually let us just add Galaxy Soldier directly from our deck, so that's why we're running it. Next up, Cyber Rev System. It's like a Monster Reborn with the additional effects of letting you special summon the Cyber Dragon also from your hand, and then it gives that Cyber Dragon monster protection. It can't be destroyed by card effects when it's summoned by Rev System. So again, it's a Cyber Dragon from our hand or graveyard, so if we're summoning from the graveyard, we can actually summon any of these 3 guys up here, like I've been saying, because they treat their names as Cyber Dragon when on the field or in the graveyard. From our hand, though, we'll only be able to special summon the normal Cyber Dragon. Next up, Lightning Storm. Just, normal tech card. Good card. If you don't know what it does is, while you control no monster or face-up cards, you can activate one of these effects, destroy all attack position monsters, or destroy all spells and traps our opponent controls. 2 copies of Super Poly. This is for our Verte here, and it's just, a good card to have in the deck to get rid of problematic cards our opponent may have. Next up, 1 copy of Cyberload Fusion. So Cyberload Fusion is a good fusion spell card, but it's only worth playing it at 1 because basically it requires like a little more setup. So Overload Fusion lets us banish cards from our graveyard or field in order to fusion summon, and what Cyberload Fusion does is it lets us fusion summon any monster that has a Cyber Dragon as its fusion material by shuffling those materials listed onto it into the deck from cards on the field or that are banished. So basically requires a little more setup because the cards need to be banished, which is a little harder to get them banished than in the graveyard. So yeah, it's definitely good running at 1. And then it has the drawback that when you fusion the monster you fusion summon with can't attack the turn, or can be the only monster that attacks that turn, but because it's a quick play, you can actually set it and use it during your opponent's turn for interruptions. So you can make like a Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon when they're about to end their turn, and then flip this up, special summon the Rampage Dragon, pop their 2 back row, and then the fact that they can't attack that turn, only that monster can attack that turn, doesn't matter because it's not your turn anyway. Next up, 2 more hand traps, Infinite Impermanence, who kind of shout out as kind of a Cyber Dragon card, even though it has nothing to do with the archetype, but it has Cyber Dragon Infinity in the artwork and Infinite Impermanence, so kind of cool, but not really a Cyber Dragon card, just has his artwork. Next up, Cybernetic Overflow. We're running 2 of these. It's a really great searchable interruption card that has 2 good effects. So the first effect is its normal effect. When you flip it and activate it, you get to banish Cyber Dragons with different levels from your hand, face up, field, and or graveyard, and then destroy an equal number of cards our opponent controls. If this card so basically what's good about that is it doesn't target, so when you activate it, first your opponent doesn't know which cards you're going to destroy until it goes off, so they have to either choose to negate it before they know what you're destroying, or let it go off not knowing what you're going to destroy. And secondly, because it doesn't target, cards that can't be targeted by card effects can still be destroyed by this, as long as they also say they can't be destroyed because this doesn't target. Next up, another tech card, 1 copy of Solemn Judgment. Pay half your life points, negate anything. No need to explain there. Our instant fusion, so for the extra deck, we have our instant fusion target, Panzer Dragon, just a level 5 to get into Nova. 2 copies of Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, the best fusion dragon here that will make the most. And what he does is you can use 2 or more Cyber Dragons to make him, and Cyber Dragon monsters, sorry. And basically, when he's summoned, because you can use 2 or more monsters to make him, whenever you summon him, the amount of Cyber Dragon monsters used for fusion material, that's the amount of spell and traps on the field that you can destroy. So you can destroy a minimum of 2 every time you summon him. You could even destroy more than 2 if you want to send more Cyber Dragons for fusion material. And then what else he lets you do is he lets you send up to 2 light machine monsters from your deck to the graveyard. And then if you do, for each monster sent to the graveyard, he gains an additional one additional attack. So if you send 2, he'll instantly be able to attack 3 times in 1 turn. That's 6,300 damage. So him alongside like another Infinity or something will help you get game no problem. Next up, we have 1 copy of our Fortress Dragon. So Fortress Dragon is a card you saw in the gameplay. This is what we used our opponent's Zeus, who is a machine monster, with our Cyber Dragon to contact fusion. So contact fusion meaning you don't use polymerization for him and the other Chimera Tech card I'm going to show you in a second here. You just have to send the materials on the field, and they have this little niche ability where you can use them from either field, so even your opponent. So if your opponent has a machine monster, you can use it. Now you go, that's a little strange to run it just for that 1 card Zeus, but the reason we also run it is when we kaiju our opponent's monster, like we said before, we're going to use that kaiju who's a machine to fuse for our Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, so we're not leaving them with a big beat stick. Next up, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Super poly target just takes 2 dark monsters. And then our other contact fusion card, which is Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. So Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon works exactly the same way as Fortress Dragon, except the difference is you use a Cyber Dragon plus 1 monster in the extra monster zone. So basically a link monster is what you'll get with this. So, I mean, any card can be in the extra monster zone that comes from the extra deck, but typically it'll be a link monster. So if they have like an Appaloosa or something really strong in the extra monster zone, they won't be able to negate this. They won't be able to stop this, and you'll basically just take their card and fusion material and use it as fusion material. Next up, Cyber Eternity Dragon, just a little tech option. You can replace him for another super poly target or something, but basically he's just like a beat stick who has some protection effects, can protect your cards, and then can special summon out a Cyber Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard when he's sent to the graveyard. So yeah. Next up, 2 copies of Nova. Nova's really great. He has 3 really strong effects, and he helps you climb into infinity. So basically, once per turn, you can detach 1 material from him, target 1 Cyber Dragon in your graveyard, special summon it. His other effect is, once per turn, quick effect. You can banish 1 Cyber Dragon from your hand or face of field, and then this card gains 2,100 attack until the end of the turn. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 machine fusion monster from your extra deck. So you can bring right out a Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon from your extra deck as soon as it's destroyed or sent to the graveyard. Next up, Infinity. So Infinity is a rank 6 here, and he takes 3 6-light machine monsters, but we never make him that way. What you do is you overlay your Cyber Dragon Nova for this card. So basically, if Nova has 2 materials on it, you take Nova and the 2 materials and use it to exceed summon Cyber Dragon Infinity, so Infinity will have 3 materials. And what Infinity does is he's a really great card because he can once per turn, first of all, he gains 200 attack for each material attached to it, so he'll usually have 2,700 off the bat. Then, once per turn, he can target a face-up attack position monster on the field and attach it to it as material, so he'll gain 200 extra attack every time you do that. Plus, once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, that means monster effect, spell, or trap, you can detach 1 material to negate the activation and destroy it. So he can keep taking monsters every turn to boost his attack and to give him more negates. Really good. We run 2. Link Karibo, just a little extender here just to put cards like Hertz into the graveyard. Cyber Dragon Seeger, he's just used to make to basically make protection from battle for our Cyber Dragon Infinity and stuff like that. He can boost the attack of Cyber Dragons. And then Predaplant Verte Anaconda here. So Verte is a really good card. We'll use him to send usually like Overload Fusion or Cyberload Fusion, whatever we need. And that's why we don't need to run like 3 or like too many of these fusion cards, because we can always use Predaplant to fusion summon them or to use them. And then we can also send our Super Polys here. So not only are they good interruptions, but we can use Verte's effect to make any monster dark on the field. So using Verte and that monster, or just 2 dark monsters on our opponent's field, we can make Fusion Dragon, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. And for our last card here, just 1 copy of Access Code Talker. We can make him with our Seeger, and then just he'll be a big body with like usually 4,300 attack on summon, and just help us poke for game and destroy monsters. So that's all for today's deck profile for Cyber Dragon. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was helpful for you guys. If you guys like this, I would really appreciate if you liked and subscribed to the channel, and also drop a comment on, like I said in the beginning, of other deck profiles you'd like me to show off, or other content you'd like to see. Until then, I'll see you again next time. Have a great day.